Hi everyone, this is Stan Mallow. Welcome to the Paranormal Show. Have a great show for you today. My very special guest is going to be Seika Groves. She's a professional psychic medium and tea leaf reader. And in addition to that, she's an expert when it comes to things related to the Victorian occult. And being on the Paranormal Show, that's a great fit. And voila, we manifested my wonderful, wonderful guest, Seika Groves.
Hello.
How you doing? I was giving you a pretty nice introduction. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of it. Going for that, you're a psychic reader, tea leaf reader, also very well versed in the occult. What I was going to show you with, I thought you would like that. I would have explained it to you. I have a collection of a number of things from the 1800s, from the occult Victorian era, which of course is the reign of Queen Victoria. And I thought you'd get a kick out of this. This was from the Victorian era to get messages. It was a form of handwriting instead of automatic writing. But this not only could do automatic writing, but you could draw photos and pictures of them. And I explained it to the people out there. So this is also a learning lesson. So now that you're here, I have a number of questions for you, going on with this over there. Now let me just get to my little 4x6 cards over here. Okay, now, during the reign of Queen Victoria, you have the secret societies. They were really flourishing. Occult orders, spirit photography, ghost, the supernatural, seances, Ouija boards, contacting the other side. How did that come about? Why did it flourish there the way it did? Because it was like the in thing for so long.
Well, it was, and it was because Victorian people were really close to death. So we don't really understand that today. Like, we don't understand how easy it was for a loved one to die, because we have all this medical advancement. We have all of these great things that we can take today. We know so much more about food and having a healthy lifestyle. But back then, they were so very close to death all the time. I mean, something as simple as the flu could have, a family member pass away, and especially children. So it was something that they lived with on a day-to-day basis. And so when the idea of being able to contact the dead, and I mean, it's nothing new, right? Cultures have been doing this for as long as we've been on, as long as we've been on the earth.
Ancient Egypt, doctrine of immortality.
Yes, and the Egyptians were very, very big on doing this and having
and
these.
Living on the soul, moving on.
And moving
It's
on.
something new about the soul living on.
So in that time period, and it really started before the Victorian era, it started more in the Rococo period in Paris, when they started with seances, and it just sort of caught on. And in London, it was very popular because you had a lot of people traveling back then between London and between Paris and between some of these centers like Prague and that in the East, and these esoteric ideas were being passed around amongst mostly the upper class society. I mean, a lot of the lower class didn't have access to as much information. They weren't able to read the books like the upper or middle class were. But because everybody was so close to death and it touched everyone's lives so much more than it does now, the fascination with it was key to really propelling what we now call the New Age, New Age ideas. They're not really new. They're very old. But in the Victorian era, it was new to them. So that idea of this new age of old esoteric thought was being brought in. And so it just moved forward, and everybody that embraced it, and it really covered a wide range of people, from the lower classes right up to royalty.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I mean, I know Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, like most Victorians, was very much interested in communicating with the other side.
Yes.
And we talk about royalty. I mean, Queen Victoria herself had seances. And in fact, I don't know how many people out there know it, that when Prince Albert passed into spirit, she, in Windsor Castle, had seances to help communicate with him. Because when you think about Queen Victoria, you think very uptight, starch, and this and that, and there. Now she was very open to this.
Well, and she was very open in general. I think that a lot of people see her as that staunch figure of the Queen, this sort of older, portly woman that, very stern-faced. But when she was young, she loved music and theater and all these things, and reading and just everything that she could dip her toes into, all the culture. And when Albert died, I mean, it really changed for her. It changed her whole world because he was her whole world.
Yep.
But at the same time, you know, she was very much into seeing if she could contact him. And I mean, even going back as far as Elizabeth I, she had a card reader, a mystic, in her court. And she actually referred to them almost daily to get reports on what she should do, how she should proceed with things. So this is not something, as I said, it's not something new. It's just that in the Victorian era, because it was the industrial age and sort of that revolution moving forward into modern society, that it really propelled for people. And like I said, the access became so much more for the everyday person. But it was also different. You know, it wasn't beyond Victorian middle class and mostly wealthy, but to hold things like mummy unwrappings in a parlor. And back then, they didn't see those people, mummies, the same way we see them today. We respect that. And it's not that they disrespected it, it's just they were so fascinated with it that if they could purchase one and bring it home, put it in their parlor, invite all their friends over, and unwrap it. And of course, with that, there would always be somebody like an archaeologist or a mystic that would be telling a story. And of course, every mummy back then was a pharaoh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It didn't matter. Every mummy was a pharaoh.
And when you're talking about the dead and their concept and how they looked at it with people besides the mummy there, it was quite prevalent for a lot of people that when somebody passed on, they would photograph
Yes.
the dead body in the hope that when they had that photo, the spirit would appear through it.
Mm-hmm. And I should have brought some with me. I have quite a number of tintype memento mori photos.
Yeah.
And a lot of them creep people out because they're children. And again, you're looking at a time period where even though you had wealth, having access to a photographer was not something everybody had. And so when a family member passed away, and especially someone like a child in your family or, you know, a young adult, and even a wife, a husband, but generally with children, you'll see more and more photographs, the memento mori photos of children. And to us, they seem very macabre. Like you're looking at it going, well, there's which one's the dead child? Like, because sometimes you can't tell. They were that well done. Mm-hmm. But if you look, sometimes you'll catch a piece of the aperture in the photo where if the child's standing, they're actually held up on a metal aperture that was help them stand. So sometimes you can see those the bottoms of the apertures or something around the wrist that's holding the child's arm. And a lot of times they would make them look like they were sleeping. So especially younger children, they would be with mom lying in her lap and it looked like they were asleep. I've got a couple of photos that are really interesting. Kids propped up on rocking horses, in chairs. And you just, you have to look. And whenever we go to auctions sometimes and buy the tintype photos, we always have the game like Spot the Dead Guy. Because sometimes you get these photos and you really have to look, but you'll find that some of them are memento mori photos.
And who's to say how somebody should mourn? It gives the people comfort.
Right.
It gave them solace.
Yes.
There's my loved one, and maybe they're there. And who's to say?
No, and like I said, they were so close to it that for them having a parlor viewing was something you did. You have to remember, too, that the concept of a funeral home and that type of ritual for the dead didn't come until the middle 1800s. So before that, people had parlor viewings. So you would have your loved one laid out in your parlor so that people could come and pay their respects. Wakes are a good example of the reason they had wakes. You would literally have a wake for 3 days because that was sort of the time period that if somebody was going to wake up, they might wake up in that time. Mm-hmm. And so you would have a party and you would sing and you would have music and you would celebrate that person. And so it was very different, right? But the whole idea of the occult, like you say, secret societies, of course, again, nothing new, but in the Victorian era, very much a part of the elite.
They flourished.
They
was incredible.
did.
Yeah.
It was very much an elitist. If you belonged to a secret society, you were considered to be one of the elite.
Now that opens up to one of the other questions I had for you, going with people, with societies over there. And, obviously they were into mesmerism, crystal gazing, clairvoyance, thought reading. Spiritualism, of course, was number one. Now, I also find interesting, and people from the Niagara area should know, that probably the beginning of modern day spiritual, as we know it, is because of the Fox sisters in New York
Yes.
State, who didn't live that far away from here.
Yes.
And, spiritualism was very good throughout the world. It was big in Canada, here, everywhere. But for whatever the reason is, in England, it went above and beyond.
It did. It was really huge in New York City, too. So, London and New York and Paris were probably on par with each other. We don't hear too much about Paris because, again, speaking a different language and a different culture in a sense. But we do have a lot of information about New York, too. So London and New York were on par with each other at that point. And New York was this, new emerging city of culture and recreation and people with money. And so on this side, it was very popular. And of course, many people will have heard of Lilydale, which was a spiritualist camp initially. When it first started out. It was tents. It was just tents by a lake. And it was like going on a holiday, but it was the spiritualist community that was going. And so, that grew into something and became a very popular little haven in New York as well. And that, of course, is in upstate New York.
And of course, now we all know it to be a spiritualist community,
That's
which
right.
what it is.
It
But
is.
it really started open. I guess the first women's liber was there. It was supposed to be very, very open.
Yes.
Very, very free, and explore, do whatever you like to do.
And that's sort of the thing. And I mean, London, of course, when we go back and we look now, and we watch old movies, or we watch movies that are being made now about, the supernatural. I mean, it's always in London, right? Everything is in London because London just has this ancient history. And because it has been such a ongoing community there in London of people of different esoteric beliefs, it was really a melting pot. I mean, when Madame Blavatsky was sort of,
She was on my list to ask you
Yes,
about her.
yes. And
In fact, I have a Ouija board that she had used, just to let you know.
Nice. So, but when she was very young, she had the most interesting life. And she got to travel to all of these places, which I think is what really propelled her and her sort of belief in the esoteric and her ideas as well. But of course, she went to London to soak that all up as well as other places.
And she was the founder, I hope I say this right, I always screw up certain words, the Theosophical Society.
Yes, Theosophy, yes.
Yes. Well, she was founded at. Could you tell the audience out there about it?
Well, that comes from her travels. She spent a lot of years, and there's the saying, and even she used to say it, 3 strikes and you're out, but not in the occult community. Because she
no
tried,
forgiveness.
No, well, but she tried 3 times to set up this Theosophical Society, and it just didn't catch on. And it stemmed from her childhood. She was as we call it now, a military brat. Her father was a well-known military officer in Russia, and they were also related to the royal family. So her great-grandfather had a spectacular library filled with all kinds of books on esoteric backgrounds and Eastern philosophy and so many things that she just really sat for hours and read and read and read. And she was so very lucky because she got to travel with her great-grandfather and her grandfather to places like Tibet, where she spent 3 and 4 years in Tibet. When she got older, when she was young, she was there for 6 months. She picked up the language. She went to Mongolia. She picked up the language. She was apparently very good at languages and was very easy to pick them up. But it's, the saying was her father was a quite rigid military man. Her mother was very young and was a writer. And she was a poet and a writer and quite a critically acclaimed one in her life, but she died at 28.
Wow.
So Madame Blavatsky was only 10 when her mother passed away. And her mother, she had a brother and a sister, and then a number of siblings that didn't make it in childbirth. So she was really kind of doted on because she was the oldest at that point. And she got to travel and do all these things. So that's really her life in a nutshell, was going around and collecting all of this information that she found so fascinating. And a lot of it to do with death and spiritualism and reincarnation and all of these concepts that in the Western world were kind of looked at oddly. because it was such a Christian society. So there was this idea of you die, you pass, you go to heaven, you spend your time with God.
You hope.
Yeah. Well, if you're a good Christian, right? So if you were following that letter of law. But at the same time, she, even though she was brought up Catholic, she believed in the idea of the Eastern philosophies and reincarnation and all of these things. So all of these ideas she brought with her. And this is, like I said, she tried 3 times to get this society going. And it wasn't until her 4th effort, and really when she was in New York City, that it started to take off.
My motherland. Good. Excellent. Yeah, because I got some other ones. The British Society, a Psychical Society Research.
Yes, they like to make really long titles. It makes it sound important.
And it does.
It does. And again, I mean, with all of these societies that were going on back then, I mean, even the Freemasons, or the Rosicrucians.
Which people realize is an occult order.
That's right.
We think the Rosicrucians,
Yes,
they were
and
occult.
I mean, again, founded by a Russian, a Catholic Russian who, and who was Orthodox at the time, actually, but, founded this order of the Rosicrucians, and again, the Freemasons, and they all had, and a number of different psychic societies as well. And there's one that very few people have ever heard of, and it's kind of one of those obscure little things. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who was huge into, seances and this, he wanted to join this society, and if I can remember it correctly, it was called the Women's Psychoanalytical Society for Spirit.
$75 an hour.
Yeah. So essentially what it was is that the idea was that they were analyzing the psyches of passed on souls.
I got to say, there's so much more I want to speak to you about, but we've got to take a break.
Sure.
We're going to be taking a break right now, and when we come back, you will have the opportunity to contact us and ask any questions that you like of Seika, any question related to psychic or about the Victorian era.
Right, of course.
Right? And one is dial 1-800-706-4221, extension 6217. That's 1-800-706-4221, extension 6217, or go to the paranormal website, fsparanormal.com, click on question for guest, and 2 different ways to do it. We hope you take advantage of it, because I know you came a long way to come here, and we'll be right back, as they say.
We'll be right back.
You're watching TVCogeco, truly local television.
Hi, everyone. This is Stan Mallow. Welcome back to the Paranormal Show with my wonderful guest, Seika Groves. And this is your chance to ask her any questions that you like, be it to that fascinating Victorian occult era, or you brought your cards with you. We'll do psychic readings. Okay. Now, again, we're going with different ways that we're going to get it. Sherry from St. Catherine's asks, when will I find a job?
Yes, the age-old question.
What do you feel?
Well, let's pick a card for Sherry and see what happens. All right. Well, that's interesting. So that, and I don't think if anybody can see that at home, it's the knot. So what this symbolizes is that it's that tightness or that inability to let go. So I think right now for Sherry, she has to start looking at different options. So Sherry, if you're watching, you have to start looking for different options, because I think you're caught up in just a certain area that you might want to work in and expand your field a little bit. I think that at that point, if you do, she'll have better opportunities. I feel like she's just very much tightly wound around one type of position, and that she wants to sort of stick in that field and expand a little bit, open up, find out if what you are good at or what you are trained in has capabilities a little bit further out. Loosen the knot a little and let yourself go.
Okay, we have a caller from the audience. Hi, Sandy. Hello, Sandy.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for calling the Paranormal Show. What is your question for Seika, please?
I am having some conflict completing school, and I just want to know, what do I need to do?
Well, let's pick a card. Let's see what we can find for you today. Okay, so your card, whichever camera we're at here, is the tiger. And what the tiger is it means that you need to focus and be stronger and find more strength. So I'm not sure if you're just feeling like, are you feeling like you're not really into the course, or is it just that you feel a bit overwhelmed by the course?
I was in the process of finishing my consolidation for nursing school, and something happened at the site. I was pulled out of the site. Now there's this big meeting with regards to my completion. I just really want to know what I should be doing in terms of finding a resolution.
So I think what you have to do is you have to look at what you truly want. So, if you want to finish this, you have to stick to your guns and you have to stand up for yourself. And so no matter what's going to go on at this meeting, just be true to yourself throughout the entire thing.
Okay.
Okay, don't let people push you one way or the other if you don't feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now on the FS Paranormal line, Pauline from St. Catharines asks, could you pull a card for me, giving me some direction in career? I would like to do something I enjoy.
Okay.
The best she could do, because she didn't tell you what she enjoys.
No, but we'll see
Okay.
what comes
Excellent.
up,
Good
because
stuff.
again, it's always in the cards or in the cup. Okay, so this is interesting. So this one here, if you can see that, if she's watching, she's online, I guess, is a pine. Okay, so what that sort of represents is the pine can mean two different things. What it can mean is, the first thing is that it's almost like pining. You're pining for something, but you don't know what it is, because as she said, she's not sure. I think what you have to do is look at it from, again, and this seems to be a career-oriented show tonight, is look at it from a perspective of, what do you love? What do you love doing? And then can you build a career from that? There's a lot of people who are artists, a lot of people who are good with their hands, good with speaking. So you have to narrow down, what is it you truly want to do and what do you love? Look at those jobs that are available in that area. And then if you need to kind of retrain yourself or do something to make yourself more applicable, then you have to go and do it. You can't just sort of sit back and go, oh, I really wish this would happen, because nothing's going to fall in anybody's lap. Let's face it, it doesn't happen, right? So be like a tree, Think of growth. Think of your own inner growth. Think of that. Don't think of it as pining away, going, I wish I could do something different. I want to do something different. Think of it as a term in growth. So be like that tree. Take that time and grow outwards.
We have Kathy on the phone. Hi, Kathy.
Hello.
What is your question, please, for Seika?
My question is, I'm wondering if there would be a casual companion or romantic interest in my near future.
Well, let's see. I'm just going to do a little reorganization of my cards and respread them. There we go. Let's get an idea in there. Here, Stan, I'll let you pick a card.
I'm going to be the surrogate, okay?
Yeah, he's going to be the surrogate.
How many cards do you want me to
card.
pick?
Just pick one.
Okay.
One is
Just
good.
pick one.
Yeah, it gives us direction.
I'm going to go with that one.
All right.
There's where I'm guided.
Oh, look. Again, the knot. It comes up the second time. So what this is telling me is that right now for you, are you very particular about who you want to go out with?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think you need to start. Okay, this is almost the reverse for you.
Okay.
This is that you need to pull in and be a little bit more aware of who you are and what you want. Okay, and then when you project that outwards, that's the type of people that you attract. Okay, so if you're really looking for somebody, you know, to be in your life, you have to start being more who you are. And I mean, I'm not here, you're not in front of me, so I can't pick up on your energy in that respect. But I think that instead of sort of settling, be a little bit more meticulous and a little bit more sure in what you want out of a companion.
Okay, then.
All right?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We wish you good choices there, Kathy.
Yes.
Now, talking about jobs, Leslie from Niagara Falls asks, will the job I am in have any positive changes coming soon, and should I take the opening opportunities?
All right, so let's see what it has to say. There's so many cards in this little deck. Let's grab this one. Oh, so your card is the tortoise. So slow and steady, slow and steady. I think that for you, the opportunities that can open up, again, is if you are looking for, does she want something specific? Like in her question, is she asking about anything completely specific?
No.
No. Okay, so it's just something in general.
Exactly.
So I think if there's opportunities, you should always explore those. Okay, but always, again, like the tortoise, slow and steady. Don't jump into anything unless you're sure that it's what you want.
Okay, we have Cindy on the phone.
Okay,
Hi,
Cindy?
Hello, Cindy.
Hello.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Hi, could you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, good. What is your question, please, for Seika?
I was just wondering if I'll be moving to Nova Scotia, if that's where my fiance's job will be taking us, and if our estate will be settled before I go.
Okay. Let's see what we have. Apparently we're picking a lot of the same cards tonight. This is a Feng Shui deck, by the way. So it actually works really well for things like this. So again, the idea is you want to make the move, yes?
Yeah, I guess.
You don't sound convinced.
Well, I got kids here, so I'm great.
Right. So again, think of this card, think of that, the tortoise, and it's a slow and steady, even pace. Make positive choices. Okay, don't do it just because. All right, if there's a lot of things here that you feel are keeping you back, when you do a move like that, I mean, I understand you're saying that there's a job involved for your fiance. I'm sure that, you know, that will make some bearing on what's going on. But for yourself, you need to be 100% sure before you take a leap. Because is there anything for you in Nova Scotia when you get there?
Okay.
Right? So think about that.
Okay.
I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you you have to think about what is a prospect for you when you get out there. I don't see anything negative, to be truthful, but I also see just with yourself, it's a bit of this. If you can see me. I'm doing the teeter-totter.
Will our estate be settled before I leave, or?
I don't know, because I'm not really picking up on too much about that.
Okay.
Okay, it's, I mean, I can pull another card and just see if there's anything in there for that. Oh, okay, well, we have the mushroom. So the mushroom is essentially something that springs up overnight. And so it may very well be settled before you go.
Oh, that'd be nice. Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
you very
Seika, I've got to tell you, before we go on anymore, you are one very popular psychic medium. We are flooded with questions for you.
Oh, that's
So I'm going
good
to
to
ask you
know.
as a favor, we get to
Sure.
more
Yeah,
people
we'll
as
go a little
possible
bit
to
quicker.
expedite
Sure,
things
we
as much as
can.
possible
We can do
over
that.
here.
All right.
Okay, whoa, and look what we're
It's
starting off
exploding.
with. Julie from St. Catharines.
All right.
3 years ago, my successful business of over 20 years fell apart for unexpected reasons, and I lost almost everything. I started working immediately, and I am now working part-time, but just started to look for a full-time position. Will I be successful finding one that I am passionate about? Wow.
Yeah, that's
hope
a
you
tough
pick good
one.
cards.
That's
Yeah.
a tough one.
Yep.
Well, it's Julie, right? Julie?
Julie from St.
All right,
Catharines, yes.
Julie. So I just picked a directional card for you, and that's south. So the card is south. South is great. South is very positive. It can mean that you can move forward quite quickly into a positive environment. I would say that you should be successful in finding a job. Now, whether it's the exact job that you're going to want right off the bat, it may not be. But continue to pursue the things that you love and don't give up. I think that within another, say, year, you should be pretty solid on your footing towards at least a career that'll get you some money.
Good. We have Anna on the phone. Hi, Anna. Hello, Anna.
Yes, hi.
Yes. How you doing,
Hello.
Anna?
I am well, thank you.
Okay. What is your question, please, for Seika?
My question is, does she see any change in my financial future?
Oh, yes. I'd like to see a change in my financial future.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't we all?
We're not far from the casino.
No. Yeah, first I'd have to have the money to spend. So center is the card that I pulled for you. So right now, again, center, of course, is that grounding. So I think you need to focus and find a sort of ground to keep you solid. As for financial, are you doing a job that you enjoy?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So are you looking at other areas where you can actually gain financially?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that you're on the right path. So you are centered. And just keep moving out from there. I think that it takes time. Okay, I think, in the next 6 months or so, look at maybe doing some, I'm not a huge fan of investments, but look at, putting some money away perhaps.
All right.
As opposed to, sticking it into investments.
Okay.
Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself.
All right.
All right.
Great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good luck
Good
to you,
luck.
Anna. Now, Lisa from Niagara Falls. Lisa from Niagara Falls. We have had our home since May on the market privately. Now we have an agent. Will we sell, and when we take ownership of another home December 1st?
Oh, one of those.
I know, that's what I had said earlier.
All right, let's see.
Yep.
Okay, so your card I pulled is the Scholar. So you're on the right track, okay? So you are on the right track. The Scholar is having knowledge, and having knowledge, so you've now hired an agent, which should help you much more with your endeavor of selling the house. It's a bit of a slow market right now, especially in Niagara Falls. It's kind of died off a little bit. But I think that you will actually sell your house, and it's going to be really close to your switch date. So hang on to your pants.
Good. Hopefully you have a belt or suspenders or something there.
Exactly.
Okay, we have Wendy on the phone. Hi, Wendy.
Yes.
Hi, thank you for calling the Paranormal Show. What is your question for Seika?
Well, I was just wondering, I've been feeling very spiritual lately, and I wondered if, the card showed anything.
Let's just pull a card for you just to start, and I'll give you an idea of why you've been like that. So Earth is your card, which is great, because what's happened this year, and you're not the first person that has told me this, we've had a lot of things change just in the universe this year,
Right.
generally. So what happens is that energy actually affects us psychically in a sense, and I'm not meaning, being able to do readings or anything, but just our physical energy level as well. So it helps us tap in. And sometimes when that magnetic pull is really strong is the times when we start to feel this way. So explore it.
Right.
Don't,
I'm trying to, yes.
Yeah, just start exploring it. Get yourself some books to read. Look at the areas that you might enjoy the most, what you're most attracted to, and go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, good luck. Pursue it.
Thank
I think
you.
you'll be very good at it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Okay, Tracy from Port Colborne. Tracy from Port Colborne. Are my current legal issues going to have a good outcome, and will they be ending soon? And Tracy, thanks you very much.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Let's see
Very
what the
courteous.
card has
Excellent.
to say for you.
Yep.
Let's just do a quick one. This one looks good. Oh, the orchid. Okay, I like this. This is good. This is a good outcome for you. The orchid is actually blossoming into a beautiful situation, or a beautiful. Usually, the orchid is very unique, and it has strength and it has staying power. So I think that you will be able to work through all of your issues, and they will be resolved on a positive side.
Great. Kelly from Welland. Kelly
All right.
from Welland. Will I meet that someone special soon? Oh. How many people ask that question?
Always. It happens. Oh, well, this is interesting. It's the toad. You know that saying, Kelly, you got to kiss a lot of toads before you find your frog prince? That's an interesting card, actually. I would say, again, as I spoke to somebody earlier, look at who you are more deeply and what you want, and start to project that. I think that when we feel, and I'm not saying desperate in the sense of you're desperate, but when we're searching, we never really find. It's like when we're not looking, that's when we least expect it to happen. So stay true to yourself. Think about who you would like as a partner in your life, and start to focus on that type of community as opposed to just randomly, doing the plenty of fish or going to bars or, the kinds of things that we do. Sometimes social circles are great places to meet people. So, take those opportunities with friends and family to go out and to socialize more.
Seika, we have Tammy on the phone now.
All
Hi.
right.
Tammy?
Hi.
Hi,
Tammy.
Tammy. What is your question for Seika?
I just want to know if there's anything out there for me.
That's pretty vague.
Could you maybe narrow it? Relationship, house, job?
Everything?
Because there's something out there
Well,
for you.
I
If you
have
go
a
out your
house.
door, there'll be something out
I'm
there.
in a relationship.
Okay. So just in general, is there something more?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's an interesting card. It's blank. It doesn't mean negative. It just means that it is a blank page. You can do whatever you want.
Ah.
Right? So whatever you feel that you want to do right now, take a chance and go for it. You have a blank slate. Blank slate to work from.
I am getting a new job. I got offered a new job.
Well, I would say go for that job. And like I said, you got a blank slate to start from, and then you can start moving towards that direction that you want to be in.
Thank you so much.
You're most
Good luck for
welcome.
you,
Good
Tammy.
luck.
Good luck. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, there are so many more questions, like I said, that people want to ask it. So
Yes.
before we do that, I would not be a good host. I would be amiss if I didn't give you the chance to tell the audience out there, if they want to contact you, what is your contact info?
So if you want to contact me, actually I'm going to be at the fall.
Yeah, the GTA
The
Fall
GTA
Psychic Fair at
Fall
the
Psychic
International
Fair.
Center,
So I'm
October
gonna be-
30th to November 1st.
That's right. I'm going to be there. I'm actually doing tea leaf readings this year. So it's something a little bit different. I'm going to be there. And you can contact me at my website, which is on the screen. It is thespiritorium.com. So it's and then spiritorium.com.
That's a great website name.
It is. Thank you. It's a great
perfect.
website. We love it. We used to have a shop. And we dealt in all things that were Victorian, macabre, esoteric. We had Bob the Mummy in our shop and all that. I mean, obviously it's expensive, but please contact me if you're interested. You can book readings through there. I do readings throughout the GHA, essentially.
Great,
So.
that's excellent there. And again, talking about Canada's biggest psychic fair, October 30th to November 1st at the International Center, where Seika is going to be there with a lot of other top international psychics, and people are flying in from Ireland, Texas, all over the place to be there. You could get a 2-for-1 admission coupon. You just go to the website, fsparanormal.com, click on Info VIP Club Info, fill out just a few lines over there. It's free, no charge to you, and you'll get advance notice of every psychic event that's coming up and get 2-for-1 discount coupons for them. That's pretty good.
It is.
Okay.
It is. And it's a really fun show.
Yep. Now we'll go on with the questions.
All right.
Of course, if I asked all of them, I'd have no chance for you to get to the people, and I want to make
Right.
sure
Sure.
you do that. You were nice enough to come here. Okay, Kevin from Niagara is I'm not sure if you could do this or not, but
Okay.
Is my friend that passed away watching out for me?
Oh, well, let's pick a card just to see.
Sure.
Okay, and that's something that for me, I'm also a medium. So I do often get people that will come and visit me if they have messages. So let's see. Well, the card that I picked is the dragon. And the dragon is interesting because the dragon is able to work through all realms. So earth, water, air, fire. So I would say that your friend is with you. Now, here's the thing about people who pass on. And I mean, yes, I'm a psychic. Yes, I'm a medium. As long as we think of them in our heart, they're always with us. We never, ever let them go. And when people pass, it's energy, so it can't be destroyed. So it is out there. So if you can make that connection and that person has a connection to you, they're always with you. Yeah.
I agree with you totally with that there. Now, Anne of Niagara Falls asks a fairly heavy question. Let's see what you pick up on this. Once my daughter and her ex-boyfriend sell their house, will he leave her alone and not stalk her? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, here, we pulled the tiger again. So what Anne's daughter needs to do is once they do sell their house is that she needs to find her strength and to stand her ground. So if this person is becoming one of those, stalker type people, you need to take action. You can't just sit back. So whatever that action may be, whether you need to call the police, get a restraining order, I don't know what the situation is, but you need to remove yourself and remove him. So if you keep having some kind of vague contact, accepting a text, accepting a phone call, an email, answering, it's just going to keep him around. So she really has to be firm and find that strength and move away from him.
Mitch from St. Catharines asked a good question. If a person has psychic abilities as a child, do they continue to have them for the rest of their lives, or do they fade away with time? What would block them over time? That's a good question.
It is a good question, and actually I can speak from experience on this. I've had it since I was a child. I didn't really understand what it was as a child, but it can fade. I think that if you have it, you always have it, but it's like any skill. If you don't continue to use it, you lose it. It doesn't mean that it goes away. It just means that you're not necessarily honed into what's happening around you. So if you felt that you were psychic as a child, you can continue to bring that back by, first of all, attending events where there's a lot of other psychics. It's just great to talk to other people that have that same ability because it opens you up more and you feel more connected. Even reading books, finding things, trying little things. Pendulums are great for people.
I got to tell you this. Believe it or not, the hour is over.
Is it? Oh,
I
my
want to
gosh.
thank you
There
for
we
being
go.
a
That
wonderful
went really
guest,
quick.
Seika. Looking forward to you coming back again.
All right.
Because I have other questions I want to ask you related to the Victorian Occult, and maybe you'll bring some of your photographs with you.
I will.
So everybody, thanks for listening. Tune in next time.